And I'm live. Vlog Thursday 335, biking for charity. We're going to start there because that seems like a good place to start. And did I make the link in the proper place? Ooh, these are the questions because I made a short URL and now I forgot what it is. But let's cover that really quickly here and we'll pull that up on here. So I should have these things pulled up ahead of time. I always intend to start early. I've not yet accomplished this, but it is, yeah, I do have it in the links, so we can throw that in the comments as well. There we go. Throw that in the comments. It's lawrence.video/bike ride. I am biking for charity, which is, I got to post this on LinkedIn as well. I bought another bike, so that's what the picture is, and we'll share this tab, throw it up here. I was late to register to this. The team is doing really well. This is Jason Slagle put this together. It is the hodgepodge of idiots, as he calls it, which is all of us, and we're going to be biking for MS. So if you can, there's a link. It's thrown in the chat here. It's the first link at the top in the description of this video. If you have the ability to donate, it is much appreciated. Just wanted to bring that up and throw it out here. Our team is doing really well as a collective, collecting these donations, and it's, you can see all here. I made it very clear. It's a bike for MS. We're going to be doing it in Ohio in like a week and a half. And for those of you that didn't notice the thumbnail, I'm going to pull it up just because it'll start some of the discussion. Share tab instead. That is the bike. Well, I have a few recumbent bicycles, and that's the one I'll be riding. So I ended up picking up a new one. I was looking for an excuse to buy a new bicycle. So there's my topic from there. We're starting out. Usually Tom wanders off topic towards the end of the vlog. I wanted to start with something that's specifically, hear about this. So that's all I have to say. If you have questions, comments, concerns, email them to vlogthursday@launchsystems.com, because that's the next thing I'm going to jump into is people who had questions. And I like when people email me questions and things like that. It's always fun. I don't completely understand this one though. And this is from someone who started out with, and the question: we use apps to control our lab equipment. Okay. And it's the title of the email, because I think that kind of adds a little bit of relevance here, is Windows images based on apps installed. So the problem, each new question is, we use apps to control our lab equipment. That's kind of a statement, but okay. The problem, each new app version will fix some things and break others. Welcome to software development. The goal, is there a way to make an image for each version based on what's working and then recall it for our different testing needs? Sure, you can. My suggestion is going to be create virtualization. Concerns: if it's a full disk image, what about recalling an image from 1 month ago? We lose data or apps installed since then. Well, yeah, that's definitely a challenge. So if you're creating snapshots of a virtual machine, we'll just start there because it's an easy way to define this. You're taking an entire state. Now, the way this is solved from a, let's say, software development, or let's say Linux or Docker and other things like that, or even how I solve it with virtual machines, is you have to separate where your data is stored. So that is, it's not a software challenge. Like, you want to roll back to the previous version of app, no problem. But you want to do that by re-rolling the entire Windows system, no problem. You just have to come up with a way to separate where the data is stored. And once you do that, life will be better. So it kind of comes down to the app itself. OBS is one of those apps that I actually have to deal with this sometimes. I've had problems with OBS and I have to go back to an older version. I keep full images in my system. I could roll my whole system back, but OBS is actually pretty easy. I can install OBS. The older version of OBS will install on top of the new version of OBS. So I actually keep my old OBS, and OBS is Open Broadcast Studio. I use it for recording my screen and media recording. So it kind of depends on the app. And if you can do that with apps, cool, you can keep versions. And but ultimately, you're going to want to, snapshots are great, but you're going to want to figure out a way to separate your data. And that might be as simple as mounting your data on a share. So the share is it mounts to the same share all the time. Awesome. So if we revert our virtual machine back to a previous version, that will work. So it's a Windows box, so I've never even I know containerization on Windows exists. I've never used it, so I can't really speak to its success. I actually don't know any as many friends as I have in the dev community. I don't know any of them that are building things on Windows containers. I like I said, I know it exists, but yeah. Well, that's another one too. We use it, Willie here. Willie Howe, as many of you know him. We use a standard Windows image and then use PDQ or Chocolate to orchestrate app installation. We also use GPOs to push on first login. That's an option as well. Yeah, Chocolate's pretty cool. If any of you haven't heard of it, I think Wendell did a video. Wendell from Level One Text has a dive into using Chocolate. It's a cool install system. I'm thinking this. It sounds like he's asking about deploying apps onto lab machines like AutoCAD. Yeah, without knowing what the apps are, it can be kind of challenging. And one of the things that we know from supporting people who have things like AutoCAD is doing full images is nice because those apps have a lot of settings in there. And those settings for the app means you might want to, in that circumstance at least, do some type of full image of the system. So if there's a problem, you don't have to go through the trouble of not just installing. It's not about installing AutoCAD. The customizations or certain tweaks and how they set up AutoCAD to that particular engineer may matter quite a bit. So yeah, that's definitely something to consider on that. And the next one, I don't think I have any solution for this at all. I'll read the email as it was written. I'm tired of monitoring graphs and setting up red lines to trigger alerts. Do you know of any AI solutions to monitor metrics and to identify anomalies? Perhaps open source solutions? Not at all. Um, that's such a broad question. I guess you got to start with each one with the circumstance. For example, you can build alert triggers in lots of different things, but you're trying to avoid building alert triggers. But if you don't tell it what to trigger on, I'm not sure how it would know what to trigger on. I always look at things, and because we have to build alerts all the time, we set thresholds for things and we say alert when it reaches this, and that's how I build it. So yeah, I don't know exactly how to answer that in a better way. We extract reg hives and settings, then push over a PDQ. Yeah. Deployed some virtualized apps through SCCM in the past. It's not too difficult. Expensive is what Willie says. Yeah. Not expensive if you're students. How much is all that? I don't use SCCM. Uh, Deployment. Microsoft's yeah, I don't know. I don't use Windows enough to dive into that as a topic. What's your sustained CPU usage alert? 60 or 70%. That's why it kind of has to be customized, because what's an alert to you may not be an alert to me. And it just depends on each system. What I want is to train an AI and what is normal and alert when it detects variations from that. That's actually something the machine learning that is in net data offers that. So that answers the question of being open source. And I'm going to pull it up right here. Net data. I'll find the page for it here. So they have an ML detection, and you can set thresholds in here. And this is all with net data. So, but you can adjust these type of thresholds and things like that. It's not going to be like an AI. They don't even call it AI. They specifically call it what it is. It's defining, you define enabled, maximum samples to train on, minimum samples, and then this is, a configuration example, and you're going to determine these are the bases, and here's your anomalies, here's your anomaly rate. So it's not just was there an anomaly, how frequently does that anomaly have to occur for it to be something to trigger? It's pretty neat how they have it working here. And it's open source, by the way. So that may answer the question. It's just not an AI system. CIPP with Chocolatey does a good job across multiple tenants. Yeah, my friend Kelvin wrote CIPP. Kelvin's awesome. Yeah, I got a picture of me and him recently. If you haven't looked up CIPP for managing tenants, it's definitely a really neat thing. It's a Cyber Drain is who you're looking for. Where's the somewhere? I did not take a lot of pictures. Here, I think I can share this picture here. That's Kelvin right there with his arm around people. We were all in an elevator on our way somewhere having fun. So, but CIPP will pull that up too. I'll drop a link here. For anyone interested in this, this is something the Cyber Drain put together. Managing 365 should be this simple. Discover the ease of Microsoft 365 management. This is open source. I believe it's all on GitHub. They're doing sponsorships for it and things like that. But yes, it's an awesome thing if you're interested in taking a look at it. Intune is the future with Microsoft. It also offers MDM from all devices. But yeah, it's a mess. Microsoft's inability to write a good interface for things, like Windows isn't the best interface. Windows is just the interface that's the most popular, and it's all downhill from there. Like I don't know if Microsoft's ever really going to get Intune to be to the point where everyone just wants to use it. I don't know. ML equals AI, but not general AI. Have you done a recent video? Say up data. Jay from Learn Linux TV did I did a video maybe 6 months ago. Jay did an even more recent video. I don't know because I didn't watch Jay's video. I know I don't, but Jay may dive into the ML part of it, but they have documentation. So yeah, their parental controls for the phones M65 are pretty good. Yes. System Center Service Manager, there is a garbage interface. Yeah. I'm not a big Microsoft fan. I have staff that spend their time there. I need people because we service Windows machines. I'm not that person. I happen to employ the people who do Windows things, but I am not the person doing Windows things. I will do things like I was working. I don't need to have, even when I do security investigation type work, I don't need to have the Windows detailed knowledge of how Intune works. It's not where I'm going to spend my time on it. Matter of fact, I thought it was funny that the other day, the problem that was run into with Azure getting DDoSed, if you didn't see, I thought that was pretty wild. So that's the thing that, like, someone said they're going to shut it down. And I mean, they caused quite the disruption with Azure, which I thought was pretty interesting. One more topic, and someone asked this question here. It's back to, and I'm still reviewing some of the low-powered boards, but I don't know where this really falls. I don't know if I'm going to buy one of these or not. Someone asked if I could review the Epic processors for low power, but I don't know if I really am going to do these. This is just expensive, so I don't know that really falls in there. When I look at some of the low powered or single board computers, I'm looking for things that would put things in an affordable range for people. And this is why I'm testing the Zima system. I have a link somewhere here. Maybe I can just pull it up. It's updating right now. Or I asked one of my staff to update it. Maybe they're updating it. Maybe they're not. Let's find out. Hey, cool. I can log into it. So we'll share this tab instead. But this is running on a Zima board. And that's where I think it might be more interesting for the home lab people, is talking about low powered, accessible things you can run on like a single board computer. Hey, cool. Updated to latest version. So it is now up to date. And this has been running for a while. Other than uptime of 12 minutes, it's actually been running for a couple weeks. And if you're not familiar with the Zima boards, let me pull them up real quick. That's these right here. And I think they have a decent product here. It's cool. It's reasonably priced. Has dual Ethernet on there. I believe does it got 2.5 gig Ethernet on here? But I like this. This is the thing I like. One, it's x86. Two, it has a PCI Express on it. And this allows me to easily plug other things into it. And I think that's just an awesome expandability option. So if you go, hey, I'd like to plug in this PCI card, and somewhere I got a picture of it. I'm going to pull up because it's at my office running. I'll show you how I have it set up. But I want to, I want people to have things that are accessible, so if they can go, hey, I can pop this in my office and set it up and start using it. There it is. So I have one of those PCIe cards in there. So this is what I'm reviewing. That's part of it. And I have a couple other low-powered devices, some of the top-end ones that are at my office. I'll have a review. Hopefully have a few of these next week. But what I want to show people is that they are affordable, accessible, and work with software you want them to work with. So you can go, well, it's x86, but will it run TrueNAS? Well, yes, we've actually been running TrueNAS on it. Will it run pfSense? Yeah, my friends over at Two Guys Tech have done some videos on pfSense. I'm going to do some testing on pfSense as well. And I'm going to also take a couple of those top-end ones, and we're going to, it already has been done. The XCPNG has been loaded on a few of these. So we ran into some minor issues, but that'll be part of the review. Like, hey, this is all you set this setting to fix this. And now you can take this box. It's a relatively powerful, small, affordable box, and you can run the XCPNG if you want and build your own system on it. And that's kind of what that's the more accessibility thing that I'm looking for people when I review them. I already know the Super Micro board's nice, but it's also like $700. So $700 for a board is I don't think the price probably fits what that device should cost, but that's the thing. And you have to consider some of the costs around it going, it's kind of pricey, but here's the pictures I was looking for. There's those. We got one of these. What else did we get? I think we have one of those too. So I've got XCPNG running on both of these. One of my staff set it up. So I'll be talking about those, and they're not bad. It's nice, decent, small boxes that you can run your home server on. What are your thoughts about Linus Tech Tips Framework laptop? I've heard nothing but good things, not just from Linus. We know Linus may be biased because I believe he's an investor in it. I think that was announced. Corey Doctorow specifically, I'll pull him up. Corey Doctorow has strong opinions of liking it. And Corey Doctorow frame. So he did a recent post. No, this is his old post. It was in one of his recent write-ups. I'm trying to remember the latest one. But Corey Doctorow has a whole write-up on it, and his opinion on it, I respect him greatly as a writer, as an activist, and for technology. But he's got a whole write-up on how good and how much he likes. Matter of fact, the framework is the most exciting laptop I've ever broken. He broke it again, and I listened to his podcast, and he speaks highly of his experience of upgrading and breaking things and switching things on it. So I'm going to go with, yes, I think they're a good thing. I've heard a lot of good from not just Linus, but other people on it. Zima board with Proxmox and OpenSense. Awesome. "54 countries need a helping hand. One of those you can't share." Oh, I don't. Okay. Hello. Hi, mate. That makes me think maybe you're not from the US. As I tell my users, local government environment, we're on Azure AD and Office 365 because it's what they're expected to have. Yeah. This is true. The kind of just expected to have the government stuff runs all, and they got like their GovCloud stuff. Oh, I did. Oh, I want to share this. I was looking for this the other day. I knew someone had it. This makes me laugh a lot. So I did the Fortinet, and that video is doing really well, but I just covered just a history of shenanigans of Fortinet. I was trying to find it because this had scrolled past in my Twitter and it popped up again, and I kind of want to share it again. I just it's all the same. It's like there's a flaw in the Fortinet SSL VPN. Which flaw? Which time? And when Fortinet has to go, the Volt Typhoon clarification part really cracked me up because seriously, Fortinet, you're there's a new flaw, and you're like, oh, but not. Don't worry, this isn't the one that Volt Typhoon used. They had a completely different flaw they used. Wait, at what point do you scrap your SSL VPN and just say, let's just clean room this? We're going to hire a team to build a proper, well secured VPN. We're just going to throw away whatever the garbage is that is this and rewrite it. But yeah. Saw your video about digital signage, and I'm trying to make the same. Any recommendations? I haven't touched any projects for digital signage in a while, so I don't know if those softwares have improved, stayed the same, or become worse. I don't have any answers because it's actually kind of a weird thing. After the pandemic, we just didn't get companies reaching out for it no more. So that kind of consulting went out. We had some projects, we did some projects with a few people, and then they went away. And we just haven't, the demand for it went away. So I don't really have don't have anything else to say on it. Any tool to monitor latency across home network, NVIDIA, AP, Synology, NAS, and AC locos? I think the one that comes to mind is going to be Smoke Ping to do it over time. That's probably what I think people are still recommending. I see someone here. I haven't used Domots, but I think that's another tool you can use for that as well. I've not used it myself. One of them used to be. This one still exists? What was that one called? There used to be one called like, oh, here it is. It still exists. Here's another one you can use for that as well. This is an open source one called PHP Server Monitor. It's been a while since I used it, but it's kind of novel and it's got some graphing options to give you that type of information. Last time Fortinet has a bad times in terms of security. Fortinet has so many problems with security. Uptime Kuma, I don't think will give you the latency though. If I'm not mistaken, it just gives you the uptime, but I don't think it tracks. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's look. See, I don't think there's any latency information in here. There's uptime information, but I don't see anything that tells you like latency and variations. It just gives you a pretty graph to say when things are up or things aren't up, and that's about it. I mean, I like Uptime Kuma. I'm using it. These are Office servers for monitoring with it, but yeah. Any chance we can get some content setting up securing IPv6? Do you have any solid resources? I don't use IPv6. I don't have a use case for that, as I tell people, which seems to, I got a few people I seem to, I troll on Twitter because if I say anything bad about IPv6, they start getting on the keyboard and answering me of Tom, you don't, with it. I just don't use it. So I find IPv6 to be a headache. I don't think we'll ever get there. I think something else will supersede it because we've been going to use IPv6 soon for, well, I've been told at least for 10 years it's coming soon, but I've been going to talks on it for over 10 years. And we don't really see it in corporate client environments. We don't really run into it on many consulting things. Matter of fact, we've solved weird issues by turning it off. And that's going to make some people mad. So I don't really have any good resources on it. Matter of fact, there seems to be some flaws on it, which is why some people just turn it off to solve the flaws. Matter of fact, I can make it a better argument that by turning off IPv6 where it's not necessary, you're reducing threat surface. And that seemed to anger people on Twitter, I think, when I mentioned that. So I should mention it again. Making people angry on Twitter is apparently a thing. I don't know why that makes people angry, but I'm just saying. Fortinet needs to integrate OpenVPN or Sonar developing their own. Unfortunately, Fortinet You can PFSense is FIPS compliant. How do you know? Because if you look, so we can pull this up. This is US Navy deployed PFSense Plus software or NetGate 57 ADSL for security and network management. Now, let's start splitting hairs here about using PFSense in FIPS compliance environments. You can't use Squid. Squid, the web filtering thing, which I don't recommend anyone use anyways, is not going to be FIPS compliant. But if you don't use it for that, they have the proper, after the latest PFSense updates, I think beginning this year, they swapped out a couple of crypto things to match the compliance. Oh, see. Yeah, neither my home or office IP supports IPv6. Yep. It's been a while. Uh, been told since 1997 is coming soon. You should know this. Oh, I know. It's like whenever we hit the IPv4 exhaustion and they had to stop selling the larger blocks and started parsing things into smaller blocks, that's when it was around the corner again. Like there was a resurgence in people talking about it, but here we are. Oh, you need certified. Yeah. IPv6 will arrive shortly after Half-Life 3. We can go with that as an answer. Yeah, FIPS certified is different. So some environments want you have the FIPS certified stuff. The irony of the garbage pile that is Fortinet somehow passing those compliance tests make me think those compliance tests are just bureaucracy and freaking useless. That's my opinion on a lot of that stuff. I avoid it because I hate playing the games with any of that. Cool if you work in that space, but I've always just kind of laughed. It's such a disastrous I feel more of there's so much vendor play about money than there is about actual security. It's when someone starts telling me, "Oh, Tom, PF Sense isn't in the Magic Quadrant. We only buy the Magic Quadrant." Well, your Magic Quadrant FortiGate had a back door in it based on bad code. Like they accidentally, by their own words, I read in that video. Like I read Fortinet's own reply. We accidentally put a back door in at the request of a client. We mixed up our code bases. Whoops, we have no security controls at this company. We just let people do whatever they want. Oh, look, we passed FIPS compliance, though. We're in the Magic Quadrant, but we have no code control. uh, Run a Proxmox node on top of TrueNAS scale. TrueNAS scale, TrueNAS in general, should be run on bare metal. Throwing that out there. That's my opinion. I'll stick to it. For me, PFSense is a good layer 3, 4, not in a layer 7 in terms of DPI, just require resources to be updated. I don't put much care in Firewall's ability to do much layer 7 stuff. Not my concern. We manage at the endpoint. That makes more sense to me. Did you see the remedy of the last CV? Disable SSL VPN. That's like the only solution with Fortinet to be secure on there. Yeah, I said I get it. If you're in one of those, if you live in bureaucracy land, which that's why I avoid living in bureaucracy land. I can sit here from the sidelines and just poke fun at it. I don't want to live in bureaucracy land. I get it. People do. Someone's got to do it. So TrueNAS is on there, but you're virtualizing Proxmox inside of TrueNAS. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that. I mean, you can nest hypervisors. It just creates a lot more trouble. You are pretty constrained if you're trying to nest different hypervisors into each other. So I asked ChatGPT, didn't understand their answer. What's the difference between VLAN and VXLAN? They're two different systems. Maybe I'll pull up the write up for VXLAN. Juniper has a write up on it. I mean, there's plenty of. Let me throw it up on the screen here so we can read it all together in their words. VXLAN is an encapsulation protocol that provides data center connectivity using tunneling to stretch layer 2 connections over an underlying layer 3 connection. If you look at this compared to just VLAN without the X, you're talking about just parsing up, like, picture a physical cable and we're going to parse it into separate networks. VXLAN is actually encapsulating it so it can go across data centers. Data centers have rapidly increased their server virtualization over the past decade, resulting in dramatic increases in agility and flexibility. Virtualization network. VXLAN is a technology. We'll jump right down to this part that explains it. VXLAN is a technology that allows you to segment your networks as VLANs do, but also solves the scaling limitations of VLANs, provides benefits that VLANs not. Some important benefits. You can theoretically create a 16 million VXLANs. Awesome. VXLAN provide network segmentation at the scale required for cloud builders at very large number of tenants, and goes on from here. It's different because you're not stretching your VLANs across data centers. So VXLAN is going to be a lot different from there. Nope, never used CyberArk. I love my forbidden router with TrueNAS and Proxmox. Yeah, I do like that Wendell made that for. I like that he titled it the forbidden router. I always love just the fun stuff Wendell does. That's how I look at it. Wendell's always doing something cool. I like chatting with him. I need to go down there and visit him. I happen to be. He's in the Midwest, and I was going to be in the area, and he happened to be in Taipei. But I do want to schedule a trip to go down there and visit him. I want to hang out and do some videos of Wendell. We chat from time to time. He's just great. Do you use Zscaler? I do not. I do not and have no plans on using Zscaler. Not in the tool set that I use. I've talked about the tools we use before. I'm going to do some updated videos maybe on that topic sometime, talking about all the fun things we use. But currently, Zscaler is not among the fun things we use. I did talk about doing web filtering with Zoros. That's the tool we use for that. I'm going to be talking soon about this because this is another thing that we use. I'm going to be, it's going to be a sponsored video. Full disclosure, we're working on a sponsorship with them. But we use the product and them building out a product demo with it. So I'll be talking this is Blumera, and so definitely a really neat tool. People ask how we do SIM. And this is that question that comes up a lot. People are like, oh, Tom, don't you like Suricata? I'm like, oh, I love Suricata. Suricata is great. But if you want to manage 70 different companies and manage their security at these companies with a SIM tool, Suricata is not the way to manage that at 70 different locations. Well, more than 70 locations, because some companies have more than one location. So when you start looking at all the different firewalls and how do you manage all of that, and you need to get this for compliance, now you're talking, you have to buy some tooling that has multi-tenancy support. So I'll be talking about this. I also, and it's still on my list for doing a video on Security Onion, because I still think Security Onion is one of the best tools for your home lab to use. And we did a home lab show video about it, but I haven't done a demo on it. And I have so many things I want to get done, right? It's just better figuring them all out. Let's pull up Security Onion real quick, because would I use Security Onion? Not in the way we use it, in terms of I wouldn't use it for clients because it's not going to be a easy solution to manage. But you should learn, you as in if you're a home labber or want to play with this or don't understand what a full sim tool can do, this is a fully open source product that will give you the ability to really dive deep. First, you start with the understanding of how these tools work, where they fit in the ecosystem, using them in your home lab or just your lab. For me, I say home lab, but I have a lab at my office. I have a lab here at my house, and I build out these things so I deeply understand how the tool works. And then you go, okay, cool. This is awesome. But how do I manage this at scale? Well, I'm going to look at some commercial products, but your understanding of how the tools work, how they integrate, how they pick up threats, that is your learning that you do that makes you better understand how to choose products out in the field. Hopefully that makes sense. VXLANs make use of routing protocols, like if you use point-to-point IP links between sites of routing protocols instead of being spanning tree hell for large ringed networks. Yep, that's someone who's dealt with them. You can tell once I seen spanning tree hell for large networks. Corey has come in and probably had to fix things that people created. Fun stuff. Zscaler is similar. No, Zscaler is a completely different thing. Kind of an enterprise tool. They do a lot of things. So I guess where's their tools? Look, they're magic quadranting. Where's their, I don't know. They have a lot of different products. So you have secure internet, secure data processing, posture control. There's a lot of different things. It's like, I'm not going to sit and try and do an ad for Zscaler. If they want to sponsor me, maybe, but go on their website, try to decipher all the things they do. That would be my answer. But they're also in a magic quadrant with the Fortinet people. Oh, it's fun making fun of Fortinet. They make it easy. They just like laying it out there for us. By the way, it's not like I would feel bad if they were some small team getting picked on, but Fortinet has a market cap of $54 billion last I checked. They could put resources on here. They won't put resources on the team to rewrite the VPN until there's some market pressure. Because reality is, why would you? Microsoft, see, this is a problem. Microsoft doesn't care about security. They completely ignored security researchers. They do the most half-ass fixes for things like Exchange because why? Microsoft had a series of flaws in Exchange that they were slow to fix. People got breached, companies got hit. And you know how many companies stopped using Exchange? Almost none. Well, I should know though, maybe a few because they switched to Microsoft's cloud. So Microsoft literally has no incentive to fix things properly if they have an alternative solution to sell you. They lost no customers over this. I'm willing to bet that these large, some of them in the Fortune 1000 companies that were hit with these Exchange problems lost nothing in terms of Microsoft. So why would they fix it? They'll just move over to our recurring revenue product over here. They're gonna oh good, you're off of our Exchange and onto 365. So yeah, I got the weirdest bug. So if you notice, it got really bright in my studio. It's first time it's happened while I'm doing a recording, but the lights are actually controlled on a remote and very randomly. I know it's because some signal trips them because I'm positive there's no security in this little doodad here, but this controls the lighting in my office. And you can see it getting brighter, getting darker. For some reason, it'll jump in brightness. They're usually only set like 50% and everything's back to normal. It's a weird problem. If you notice, hey, Tom, did things get really bright? Fortinet are one of the big boys, but you didn't realize $50 billion. I looked it up the other day. Let's look it up again. So they're currently trading at $73. Yeah, enterprise market cap. I was wrong. $57 billion. There we go. So in case you're wondering, yeah. So I'm just some guy on YouTube who talks about their security flaws, but I don't think they care. Trust me, Fortinet's like, some YouTube guy. We're in the magic quadrant. We stay there. No one listens to Tom. That's fine. I'll still do my thing. Microsoft has outsourced on-prem exchange support to the FBI. That's one way to put it. That might be a way to put it. I bet the remote is in the 2.4. Everything lives there. Yes. What AV? We use Sentinel-1 plus Huntress. That is our cybersecurity offering, if you will, for endpoints. It's always confused me why anyone wants to run things like Sierra Counter and Firewall. Taking something that uses that much CPU horsepower should be running least cable CPU on-prem. Confusing anyone wants to run Sierra Counter and Firewall. I don't know. It runs on. It doesn't really. I run Sericata. You know how many sales calls I have killed by saying your name? That's funny. I mean, I like to think of myself as something like that. So do we got to put what's Palo Alto at? What's their market cap? We'll find it. Hold on. There we go. So market cap is 74 billion for Palo Alto. So Palo Alto is bigger by about $20 billion bigger, roughly. Yeah, buy shorts, crash. I am not. This is how I know how influential I am. Tom releases a video, gets lots of views, and I bet if we zoomed in, I find a better. I need to find a stock ticker. We'll just share this tab. Look, Tom released a video and their shares rose. So they're worth more now than when I released my video yesterday. So I'm going to go with I don't matter. I mean, they went from 73.59. Yeah. I don't think my video has any. They're worth more now than when my video was released. We'll just throw it out there. So we're going to go with it doesn't matter. Just moved to a new area. Don't know anyone here. What do you think are good small businesses to target for MSP? All small businesses need MSP. So we can do network upgrades on site. NASA's can learn some more. I mean, that's an entire marketing question. Usually it's join local organizations like the Chamber of Commerce, go to business events. Those are all the things that you normally do to try to figure out how to connect with people and meet them. There's not an easy answer for that. I also have a hard stop in 7 minutes. So get those final questions in before I got to go wander off. Any more questions here? I think I got them all. What else was it seems like I was going to talk about something else. I kind of forgot what that something else was. So instead we'll throw the Fortinet. Oh, TrueNAS. TrueNAS. There is something I want to talk about there. I put it in the title and I haven't had any real issues since the latest version of TrueNAS, but they did deprecate a few things. So we're going to have to talk about that. I think it's interesting what they're doing, but it's also, at first I was concerned, but I'm much less concerned now. I'm very concerned because I've misplaced the link to it. So let me find the notes about this. I guess we could start here. Let me find the release notes. There we go. Share this tab. But there's some deprecation they did. And it's kind of interesting. I get it. They're not going to have the right here we go. They're getting rid of the rsync server. Now, rsync will still be part of the packages in there, but they're not going to have the rsync server. They're getting rid of the OpenVPN server, WebDAV, TFTP, and S3. Now, their answer for S3 makes complete sense here because you can just deploy S3 as that. But that was at first a concern when they said they're getting rid of rsync. I'm like, no, but I realized it's just the rsync server, not actually the package rsync. I was like, don't get rid of rsync because that's my convenient way to get data from where it is to some other platform. Usually I'm trying to migrate data to a TrueNAS server, and rsync is frequently on whatever random server that they have. So at first I was concerned. Now I'm less concerned. But it's something worth noting that if you're relying on the rsync server, they're deprecating that function. But the thing that people may like here is, where's it at? It's in the new features list. Or why don't I just show you? This is what people have been asking for a while. I don't know when I'll get it. I'll do a video on the new TrueNAS, but I don't know when I'm going to do a video on this, but it's now added as a feature. If we go here, share this tab instead. And I want to show you the services, and under SMB, this is a feature that people have been asking about. So multi-channel, they are now getting SMB multi-channel set up inside of here. So this is going to be interesting, but there's going to be some confusion about how multi-channel works. So I'll be doing a video at some point in the future covering that, but it's something people have been asking for people that have really fast connection needs. What kind of problems do you find most SMBs that have a need to be addressed and most value? They don't understand cybersecurity. They need it for their insurance. And thank you, insurance agencies and the bureaucracy, because you have created more demand for IT services. UniFi EA, what do you think? Shrug. I didn't do much with the EA stuff, so it doesn't affect me. Cody seems to have a strong opinion on it, but Cody from Mac Telecom Networks does all the UniFi stuff, so I don't know. The EA is kind of neat, but yeah. What's my hard stop? 3 minutes from now, before 4:40 p.m. here, I have to go to an event. Have you know convincing clients to move from FortiGate to a NetGate? Many times. We've actually moved lots of people away from FortiGate to NetGate. .22.12 broke my application's Docker containers. This is a weird problem I'm going to cover in my video. I updated it. They broke. All I did was reboot it and they all worked. But it only happened on one of 4 systems. So we updated 4 systems. One, they weren't there. All I did was reboot and they came back. I didn't even dig into error messages. As soon as I seen they weren't there, I kind of said, that's odd. Let me reboot. I rebooted. They showed up. That's it. I can't reproduce the problem. And the other, matter of fact, it did that on the first system I updated. So I thought it would do it on the next ones I updated. Nope. The first one did it. The next 3 worked perfectly fine. And 2 of them are the same setup in terms of processor and memory. So I don't understand why it did it. I can't repeat the problem. But all I did was reboot it and all of them came back. Like I was like, oh no, all of them are gone. And I have all the data. So I just got to point them all back at the data store. But rebooted, they showed back up. If you want to get employed in the U.S., do you must have studies, maybe experienced enough? Look, I have no idea about, I've always lived in the U.S., so I don't know what requirements, if you don't live in the U.S., bring you to the U.S. I don't have any idea. I'm not the person to ask. I have a strategy to digitize office paperwork process so the office can be outsourced. Thoughts? That depends on each business. I use rsync from TrueNAS to TrueNAS. Is that going to be a problem? Well, if you're using the rsync service, yes. If you're using rsync over SSH from the command line, no. That's the part I want to make sure is clear. Because at first I thought the same thing, that they were eliminating rsync. And they're not. They're just eliminating the service, so the rsync modules on there. So, expand to Beaumont, Texas. Texas is okay. I've been there once. I'll go there again sometime. But all right, well, this is it for me. Thank you, everyone, for joining. This was a lot of fun. I will release a separate TrueNAS video because I want to talk about some of the nuances and some of the changes, some of the things that staying, some of the things that stayed the same. So the TrueNAS stuff is going to be interesting. They're making some faster progress at it, but there is a warning. Do check the go into the details before you upgrade. If you are on the latest version of TrueNAS Scale, there are some bugs with PCI pass-through. I don't use it, so it didn't affect me, but it is definitely something like, hey, before you upgrade, make sure you're aware of these problems before you upgrade. Now, it does do a way you can regress back to the previous version, but hey, it's just something you should really keep in consideration for this particular upgrade. They may have a patch out for it already. That's why I've been waiting a couple days to see if a patch comes out, because sometimes they'll do a slight point release to go, hey, we want to fix that one problem because we know this is an issue. But nonetheless, love hearing from you. Vlog Thursday at lawrencesystems.com is how you can get some questions to me during the week in case you can't catch this live. And see you all in the forums or online or on the socials. Thanks.